It's that time again. Festool tips and tricks. So the first tip is on the Carvex, where there's a stroboscopic light on there, and sometimes it annoys people. Do you know you can turn it off or just have a solid light? Let me show you how. So what that strobe does is it allows you pretty simply to follow a line because it looks like the blade's standing still. To switch between modes is pretty simple. You have a side that has the name of Carvex on it, and on the other side, there's no name. So there's also two on-off switches. What you need to do is grab both of them, pull them forward, and hold it. So what happens by doing that, it takes about 10 seconds and you'll hear a beep. On the name side, the switch, you'll see it's blinking. That means it's strobe mode. If I push it forward, the light remains solid. That is the light all the time on when you turn it on. And then if I hit it one more time, that's the no light mode. So some people just don't like a mode. To set the mode, and I'm going to cycle it back to strobe mode, to set the mode, which will be the mode every time you turn on the Carvex going forward, is you flip it over, and where it has no name, no Carvex name, you go like that and the mode is set. Okay, so tip number 2 is pretty simple once you understand the basics on setting depth on an MFK 700. Here's the fixed base. There's 2 knobs you got to loosen so you can adjust the height of this bottom plate. It's this knob here and this knob here. With the 2 knobs loosened, there's a micro adjust right here. And there's little bumps on here and a plus and minus. The plus means I'm going to go deeper. The minus means I'm going to go shallower. And each one of those bumps is 1/10 of a millimeter. Okay, but to set the depth, say I want to set it at 3/8 or 9 millimeter, there's no way of judging on here. There's no scale. So what I like to do is take a gauge block I made. I took a 5 and a 4 millimeter domino, and then I put a 5 millimeter on top. So I can take that, and then I can take this knob here and adjust it until I see daylight or I get it even out perfectly, and that gauge block is right on. So once that's dialed in, you just lock both knobs again and you're ready to go. So what I like to do is make my own gauge blocks and depth setting blocks, just using a little CA glue and some dominoes. It works perfect. So talking about setting depth on tools, you can see where I don't like to read scales. I never have. And it's easy to set depth on a track saw, but some people overthink it. So my track saw of choice is the TS60. And this has evolved over the years. My TS55 has a metric scale. This has a dual scale. Guess what? I have never, ever, ever used a scale. What I like to do is take a piece of wood, like this plywood that I'm going to be cutting a lot of today, and I take my track saw, and it's pretty simple. I make sure I have plenty of room on the depth set. I take it down, and you see how here I've zeroed it out, and then I take my depth set and I move it up, and then I add a couple clicks below and it's ready to go. No need to read the scale, and yes, it's this easy. Don't overthink it. Okay, so the next tip is kind of a maintenance tip for your MFT3. If you've ever done glue ups on your MFT and your dog holes get a little wonky, okay, when you're putting your dogs in there and clamping elements, and it's hard to get pieces in and out of the dog holes, what I suggest is this is by TSO. I'll have a link below. And what it is, it's a reamer, and it goes in. It has 2 areas here that actually clean out the dog hole. So what I do is very carefully, I put it in my drill, and I do all the dog holes. And sometimes when I'm doing finishing, those get clogged up. But there's another alternative. You can do it by hand. And what this does is this has a little insert tooling, and that creates, as I turn this, a little chamfer on here for different dog sets that other companies have that work and fit flush in there. And there's all kinds of accessories in there. So you can get this handheld one, and also you can get one that fits in your power drill to speed up the operation. This one cleans the hole and also puts that chamfer on there as well. Okay, so changing a pad on a Rotex sander is wicked easy. Okay, follow me on this. To change the pad, there's a button right here, the fast fix button. You push it in and up, okay? Because if I just press it like that, it doesn't go in. Okay, and then you just spin the pad on. Well, wait a minute. Here is the tip. It must be in Rotex mode. Then you go through the process, because that locks the arbor and that should spin right off. So I hope all these tips and tricks help you with your Festool system. And as we always wrap, we need a question. Not your favorite, but maybe it is. But what was the first Festool that you purchased? So as we always say from the SedgeTool shop, be positive, stay sharp, and we mean wicked sharp. And I hope this helps.